be punctual. Good call.
Yep.
Dan, you concur?
I concur. Let's go. Yep.
Okay, great. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Chris Hill. I'm the chair of the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation. I'm pleased to welcome all of you to our Rebooting the Rochester Economy event. We're going to try to keep this close to an hour, which seems to work best on Zoom. I'd like to start by thanking today's generous sponsors. We have 3 series sponsors. The first is the Community Preservation Corporation, a nonprofit affordable housing and community revitalization finance company. Our second is M&T Bank, which ranks among the top commercial bank holding companies in the United States. And our third series sponsor is the Greater Rochester Enterprise, GRE, connecting growing businesses to a host of real estate and business development incentives, programs, and services. Our corporate sponsors include architect and engineering firm Hunt EAS, general contractor UDN Incorporated, professional interior design and facilities project management firm Vargas Associates, and our supporting sponsors are NYSCAR, Rock 2025, SWBR. I want to thank all of these fine companies and institutions for their support. RDDC's president, Heidi Zimmermeyer, regrets that she's unable to join us today due to a blessed event in a family, which came 2 weeks early. So RDDC Vice President, Laura Fox O'Sullivan, will start off today's program. Over to you, Laura. Mute.
Of course, right?
Zoom.
We're here. It's only been a year, right? Welcome, everybody, and thanks, Chris. Today's program is particularly timely as our region pivots toward recovery. We have a remarkable group of leaders on today's panel, and we'd like to jump in by introducing our first panelist. To do that, I will turn it over to Dan Burns, Rochester Regional President for M&T Bank. Dan?
Good afternoon, everyone. I must say each one of our speakers has a remarkable background. Our first panelist is Leah George Van Scott, Vice President for Business Development at Greater Rochester Enterprise. As a senior member of GRE's business development team, Leah manages relationships with corporate executives, site selectors, and regional economic development officials, and also spearheads GRE's international trade initiatives. Prior to joining GRE, Leah spent more than a decade as a broadcast journalist. She graduated from SUNY Geneseo with a BA in Communications, Public Relations, and Business, and earned an MBA from St. John Fisher College. She received the 2014 Victor E. Salerno Award for American Enterprise and Excellence in Management, was featured as a Woman to Watch by the Democrat and Chronicle and her Rochester in 2013. And received the Rochester Women's Network Up and Coming Businesswoman's Award in 2011. Leah, the floor is yours.
Okay, we're unmuted, and I think I'm sharing. Can everybody see the presentation, hopefully? Okay, there we go. Great. All right, there's a lot of fantastic speakers. So let me jump right in. All right, so what does GRE do? We promote the region nationally, and we support business growth. We connect companies to the right people and the right resources to expand. Many people who are on this Zoom meeting today are business leaders themselves running companies, or you have clients that are in growth mode. So as you're listening to this presentation, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. Are you or your clients planning for capital investments and expenditures over the next year or 2? In other words, are you looking at building a new building? Are you investing in an expansion at your current facility? Are you purchasing new equipment? If yes, does that planned growth also include adding new employees? Again, if yes, if there's capital investment and you're creating new jobs, please give our team a call. I guarantee you we can plug you in and confidentially assist with that growth. So GRE's mission, again, is to market the region. So I'm always going to tell you that it is beautiful and sunny in Rochester, as you can see from my background. But you don't have to take my word for it. These are accolades for Rochester. They're third-party endorsements. And one I want to bring to your attention in particular is this recent ranking from Ownerly, ranking Rochester as the #5 best city in the country for remote workers. That survey was based on the affordability of homes, our high-speed internet connection, the quality of life here, and the fact that we truly are a college town with large, well-known institutions and universities. So couple that with the fact that we've been named the #1 market for cybersecurity hiring, and then by MIT Economics, the top metro in the US for future growth and strategic investment in tech. And you get the picture why hopefully your business is experiencing success here and why a lot of companies are deciding to open offices and new facilities in our region for growth. These are the top key industry sectors that our team focuses on because frankly, we have the ecosystem within the region, the supply chain, again, the higher ed institutions, and the workforce that can support success in these industries. Advanced manufacturing, food and beverage. We are the optics, photonics, imaging capital of the world. There are more degrees conferred from the University of Rochester and OPI than any other region. Software and our IT, we're seeing a lot of traction with. Life sciences was very hot this past year because of COVID. There was a lot of contract manufacturing opportunities as well as R&D. And energy innovation has also been really hot. Here's just a look at some of the trends over the last 5 years. This is, the gray is the number of projects GRE has been working in a year. The orange is the number of new projects that have come in during that year, and blue is the project wins. You can see a steady increase over 5 years. And if our team is busy, that means our region is busy and we're successful. So that's a great trend. It's what we like to see. We're coming up to the end of the first quarter of 2021, and already we have 6 exciting project wins that we can announce here and talk about. And when we say project wins, again, that's companies that are choosing to invest in our region and create new jobs. Gorebell opened a new location in addition to its one in Ontario County and Henrietta. They are hiring like crazy, and we're working with our partners at MCC, at the Chamber, at Rochester Works, at the county to make sure that they have the support services around them to assist with their expansion as well as the ramp up of the workforce. Right next door, sorry, let me go back to the right slide. Here we go. Right next door, Greenlight Networks is also moved in and opened a new headquarters in Henrietta. They're investing $47 million, creating 90 new jobs. Plug Power at the end of last year decided to invest $125 million and create 377 new jobs in a gigafactory for hydrogen fuel cell manufacturing in Henrietta. Li-Cycle, again in the energy innovation sector, Canadian-based company, invested a total of $200 million, creating 125 new jobs at Eastman Business Park to create a new commercial hub for lithium-ion battery recycling. And again, just to point out on the IT and the engineering front, Mastodon Design opened a new location on Science Parkway in the city, about a $5 million investment, 230 jobs. Cloud Checker continues to expand in the city, software IT. Calero as well on University Avenue, an expansion in software IT. I want to point out the guys at Arbor Studio, RIT grads, doing really cool high-end millwork fabrication, some of the coolest furniture I've ever seen. A recent expansion on Lyle Avenue in the city and the Canalside Business Center. In food and bev, Vigneri Chocolate, another city expansion, food and bev manufacturing, another really cool company doing really innovative things. And then capitalizing on our packaging strengths, Pro-Am-Pack is also built a new facility and completed an expansion. So again, now we're at the end of the first quarter of Q1, and here's some of the wins we've seen already to date in just the first 3 months. Plug Power, again, committing to investing another $290 million in a hydrogen fuel production facility. Again, a lot of traction in energy innovation, whether it's battery or hydrogen fuel cell. Hyzon, you can say the same thing, investing in its fuel cell manufacturing facility in Honeywell Falls, creating 100 new jobs. AMSAG is investing in an imaging center of excellence at the Riverwood Tech campus, again, leveraging our optics photonics imaging expertise in the region. Again, we were talking about COVID here. Rochester Clinical Research is a medical services company locally, and they're expanding to support the demand for services related to COVID-19 vaccines and testing. WeldWorks, a full service design and fab company, expanding. And then Fab Exchange, a private equity firm that acquired On Semiconductor here in Rochester with plans to bring the facility up to par and bring in a new manufacturer in the semiconductor industry. So a great way to end 2020 and a lot of good momentum here to start 2021. And to sort of reiterate that, we are busy, the team is busier than ever managing 74 active projects. If they were to come to fruition, that's 19 billion in investment, more than 8,000 jobs, more than 1,500 retained. And out of those 74, there are 19 of those projects that we call likely wins. That means they're more than 70% over the finish line. Leases are just about to be signed. Incentive paperwork is either signed and we're waiting for an announcement. And again, you can see they're all code named here: Newton, Barry, River, Cap. When we do work with companies, everything is highly confidential and we don't disclose it until the company is ready. A program that GRE administers, getting back again to how we can help you and your teams, is the GRE Economic Gardening Program. And this supports the growth of second stage companies by providing access to in-depth sales and marketing research via a strategic research team. Now, the ideal candidate for economic gardening, again, is a second stage company. So if you have 10 to 100 employees, if you have annual sales revenue of 1 to 50 million, those are really the pre-qualifying determinants to see if you might fit into this program. GRE served 206 companies since 2012. More than 1,700 jobs have been created, 350 million in investment back into our regional economy because of companies leveraging this program. Here's a list of some of the companies that went through it that were recently recognized among the Rochester Top 100 in 2020. And a bit more detail on the program. This is what it can do for you if you are a qualified candidate: identify qualified sales leads and tap into growing in new markets, help you leverage social media to connect with new customers, improve online marketing efforts and search engine optimization, and then also help analyze employee temperament to build strong management teams. GRE can provide this program at no cost to companies because we're supported by ESL, the Konar Foundation, the Community Foundation, and Monroe County. So again, if you think that you could potentially take advantage of this program, give our team a call. We'd be happy to talk you through it. And even if you don't fit into economic gardening, which right now we are very focused on doing outreach and proactively enrolling Black, Brown, women-owned businesses. But even if the business doesn't specifically fit into economic gardening, if you are growing, let's have a conversation. Perhaps we can facilitate introductions to our key regional partners that can help with your growth. And just another quick look at some of the companies locally that have taken advantage of the program. I think a lot of people have heard about the exciting Zweigels expansion underway. Trueform, I know Tyrone knows a lot about that. Optimax, eHealth Technologies, Comtech, Vigneri Chocolate again, Z-Axis, and a few more. And you can see over the last couple of years, the investments that they've made here in the region, the jobs retained and the new jobs. Again, GRE's job is, in addition to business attraction, retention, expansion, part of that is to make sure that we're marketing the region, which means your company's innovations and exciting expansions. Here's a look at some of the recent companies we featured on a fantastic partnership that we have with WHAM 1180 and WROC Channel 8 TV. So if your company is doing really cool things, again, let us know about it. We want to help you promote that, because promoting what you do makes our region look that much better. Again, focusing on growth. So back to the first questions at the beginning. If you're looking at an expansion, you're investing in capital equipment, a facility, or you're adding new jobs, please give us a call. I'm sure we can help. Or if the economic gardening program sounds interesting to you, give us a call. We'd be happy to see if we can get you enrolled and growing.
Ooh, Leah, that was wonderful. It's always great to hear about how busy you all are down the hall at GRE. So thank you for sharing. Our second panelist is Nicole Manopel, excuse me, I should have known better, Manopel, Director and Lead Strategist for Letchworth Gateway Villages, which is a municipal alliance advancing rural innovation in the Genesee Valley through network building, technical assistance, and entrepreneurship. Letchworth Gateway Villages is funded through the USDA's Rural Business Development Program, along with contributions from participating municipalities and private sources. Prior to returning home to Western New York in 2017, we loved the boomerangs coming back. Nicole spent 15 years as an international development practitioner, working across Latin America, the Middle East, North Africa, South Asia, and the Asia Pacific, on behalf of the U.S. State Department, Microsoft, USAID, and the higher education sector. She has a passion for creating opportunities for people, organizations, and communities to realize their potential, which we're about to hear all about. Nicole, it's all you.
Thank you. It's a great introduction. And thank you for inviting me to be here today. So she was saying that Letchworth Gateway Villages is a municipal alliance that was established in 2017. And it was really designed to support the communities surrounding Letchworth State Park that we're starting to see an increase in visitation. We get about 1 million people a year, and that's been growing since 2015. And especially when we're looking at, COVID and the pandemic, we've seen even more people starting to come to rural areas. So this collaboration was established to really help these communities start responding to this new opportunity. And one of the big issues that we saw right away was that, we really struggled with digital capacity. So as folks were coming to visit our region, we were surveying them back in 2017 and found that, over 75% were using the internet to make decisions about coming to the region, but also, where to eat, where to visit, where to recreate while they were here. At the same time, we had 270 of our tourism-related businesses where less than 40% could be found online. And so my big job when I started was realizing, we had to find a digital solution. And this has become even more important as we're talking about rebuilding. I think everyone understands how important digital has become. And unfortunately, this is an area that we still really struggle with in rural areas. And just let me know about time because my screen is difficult to see right now. In 2016 or 2017, when we were looking for a solution, I came across Digital Main Street. And this was a program that was established in Toronto by the Toronto Association of Business Improvement Areas, TABIA. And it was designed in partnership with Shopify, with Google, with Microsoft, a lot of big tech companies. And really the purpose of this platform was about empowering businesses to become more savvy consumers of the range of digital products that were out there. And so, in our area, a lot of the rural communities that we work in, what we're seeing is, a lot of fear around digital. People don't really know, there's just so many products being thrown at them all of the time that they don't really understand, where to start, which things to select, and what is going to really impact their business and help them with digital transformation. And so this e-learning platform was the first that I had encountered that really took this holistic approach to supporting a business, really meeting them where they are, and through 3 kind of key features. So everything is really centered around this e-learning platform that includes a digital self-assessment that allows a business to essentially understand where they kind of map in terms of their levels of digital readiness. And, going through this process, they get a roadmap that they can then activate. We have at the heart of this a digital coaching squad, which provides one-on-one coaching services. So while it's great to have an array of different online training tools and support, it's really this one-on-one coaching that is helping our businesses in our area kind of overcome that fear and navigate all the different things that they can be doing in the digital space, which isn't just digital marketing. It's also productivity solutions, collaborative solutions, and obviously since the pandemic, it's really focused on e-commerce solutions. We get access as a partner to DMS's Academy, which is a collection of online and in-person events. Right now everything is digital. That's being offered through their network. And, all of these are free of charge to our businesses. And it really provides, I think just an array of different types of capacity building products that are specifically geared towards small businesses, small mom and pop businesses that really need to, you know, be a little bit more scrappy and have limited budgets. But what's really unique about this platform is it helps us build this, you know, really strengthen our ecosystem in rural areas. So one of the challenges beyond, you know, just our population of businesses who, you know, we struggle with broadband in rural. We have, you know, an aging population primarily. So, you know, a lot of our business owners are over the age of 50 and sometimes, you know, 65 years of age, and kind of thing for them to appropriate. And so what we understood was we really needed to figure out a way to close these technical assistance gaps. And, you know, our technical assistance providers were somewhat of a reflection of our population. So while we had amazing, you know, expertise in business planning and, you know, marketing strategies, you know, a lot of our technical assistance providers were not digitally savvy themselves. So the Digital Main Street program really gave us a platform to connect our university students at SUNY Geneseo. So Hannah Robbins, who was on this call, was one of our adoptive business graduates. And, you know, this is where we've developed our whole cadre of coaches to support the program. We've started partnering with youth workforce development in the county to provide, you know, youth who can then serve as coaches for the program. And this has really connected our municipalities with, you know, again, a different type of technical assistance that is, you know, filling gaps and is really augmenting existing programs. So a great example of that this year is that, you know, we've now moved to a point where we've developed a training program. We've developed this system where the Small Business Development Center is now able to kind of manage this program. And we come in, we train the coaches, but SUNY Geneseo and the Small Business Development Center is now able to take this and expand it to their client base. So it's really about building this greater capacity and filling in these technical assistance gaps. So over the last few years, we've been able to serve about 15 communities in the two main counties we work in, Livingston and Wyoming County. We've served over 300 businesses, 10 community organizations. The majority of our businesses are women-owned, and 55% are sole proprietors. And our sweet spot tends to be those businesses who have just started out and have only been operating for less than 5 years. You can see the economic contribution that the student coaches have provided and also the economic impact. And, you know, I think more importantly from, you know, when we talk about talent and workforce development and, you know, helping people understand what the opportunities are in the space, 100% of our students that participated in the Digital Main Street program have been employed within 3 months of graduating in digital marketing and communications. And so for the, you know, 270 businesses we really focused in on in 2017, you can see that less than 40% were able to be found online. Now 72% have been. So, you know, this kind of one-on-one coaching with online e-learning services really has impacted our area. And I think this really sums up, you know, the impact that it's had on our businesses. You know, having 2 other people focused on my problem pushed me to take chances I had never tried before. I learned to use a technology that frankly scared me. And this was one of our businesses that worked with our students. And, you know, again, this has really been a great platform for empowering businesses. It's ready to scale. We have it customized for Monroe County, Genesee, Livingston, and Wyoming. So, you know, if you want to learn more and figure out if this could be a solution for you as a technical assistance provider, definitely get in touch with us. Thank you.
Wow, Nicole, that was fantastic. And I think, you know, one of the silver linings from the pandemic was we all needed to be out of the house. We needed to get out of the house. We needed to go outdoors. And so many of us who live in this area never took advantage of Letchworth. And I know my wife and I go down every fall and have dinner at the Glen Iris or lunch at the Glen Iris. And it's just a treasure of the Greater Rochester region. And I think the pandemic now is maybe showcased it more, and now these businesses have to got to get digital, is what you're getting at. So it's just fantastic.
Yeah, we've seen visitation increase by 150,000. They've actually had to close the gates to the park for the first time. So yeah, and it's absolutely necessary to be online. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and I don't think it's gonna slow down as this pandemic eases. So really great that we're taking care of one of our precious assets here in our community. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Our third panelist is Tyrone Reeves, owner and founder of True Form Manufacturing, a sheet metal fabrication company. In 2015, he founded YamTep with longtime friend Chris Rapp after the two worked together for years in the manufacturing industry. YamTep stands for Young Adults Manufacturing Training Employment Program and is dedicated to helping low-income residents prepare for a career in manufacturing. YamTep provides manufacturing skills, job readiness, training, and job placement services to young adults age 19 or older who have completed the city's Operation Transformation Rochester Employment Readiness Program. They assist to train and educate struggling young adults to become self-sustaining individuals in their communities. Many YamTep graduates have gone on to work at places like Wegmans, Mott's, Ledestri Foods, and McAlpin Industries, all of which that have established relations with the program over the last 6 years. Tyrone, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dan. Well, obviously, I'm a Rochester native, and our community is extremely important to me. You know, we have issues in our community, but we also have people who are prepared to roll up their sleeves and try to figure out solutions. When we started YamTep, the whole concept was for it to be collaborative with every organization in our community. We wanted to really have it be a collective impact type of organization. So we started working with everyone in the community. We started working with Department of Corrections. We started working with all the high schools. We started working with Monroe County Public Assistance. We started working with City of Rochester, Center for Youth Services, Youth of Doyle, drug treatment facilities. At True Form, in our business, it was just difficult to find employees that could do entry-level jobs. You know, our middle skills jobs, we still have a lot of openings in middle skills, but I couldn't even begin to think about middle skills because I couldn't get entry-level skills filled. And so we just started saying, you know what? I spoke to probably 15 or 20 of my friends who were small business owners. And I said, guys, if we start this program, here's what the curriculum looks like. Would you be willing to interview any of these students once they finish? And you'll be surprised at the turnout. Most of those folks said absolutely. And our first classes just kind of went very, very quickly. It was almost 100% success in terms of placing people. And so we just started saying, hey, let's see if we can figure out how to work this. So I then started recruiting employer partners. We went to a lot of employers. Today, we probably have close to 60 employer partners. And there is no cost, there is no fee to be an employer partner with YamTep. All we ask is that if you're in a hiring mode, if you're looking to hire, would you be willing to come interview and talk to these people that we've trained? And will you give us some idea of what the skill sets and your requirements are? So we kind of just focused on very, very simple, very, very basic. We didn't want to, put our PhD hats on. We wanted to put our fifth grader hats on and say, okay, how do we kind of work this from a very simplistic standpoint? And we only work with those companies in terms of their entry-level programs, entry-level jobs. We work with ages 18 years old to 60 years old, right? And the young inside of the YamTep name does not denote age. If any of you have really worked in the community and done a lot of training and working with a difficult population, you realize that you could get a 40-year-old person that's never worked before. So that's kind of where the young came from. We said, okay, we're going to just say, you know what, you have no background. We're going to make the assumption that you have no background. So our training is predicated off of that premise, that I've got to build you from zero and build you up to something. So we kind of just put that in play. We started having a great deal of success. Today, I don't even recruit employers. Today, employers call us, which has been a fantastic thing. We're still trying to work more and more with other organizations. It's funny how Rochester is. You have this wealth of information and knowledge of all these organizations that are in the non-for-profit sector of the world, but they kind of are territorial. They like to keep that to themselves. I don't really get it, but as we work with more and more people in the community and more organizations, we're gonna have to figure out how to do this together. My personal opinion is we'll never satisfy and fill any of those middle skill positions that are paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 if we can't even fill the basic entry level positions. So that's kind of who we are, what we do. We look forward to working with everyone in the community. We don't know all the answers, but we're willing to try almost anything to kind of see how to transition a person from being impoverished and transitioning them out of poverty, as well as collectively working with employers to say, hey, we still know you need the right person, you need the right chemistry, you need the right team and people coming into your organization. So we spend a great deal of time making sure that we find a person that will fit that employer. And those are really the basics of what we do. So thank you very much for letting me share.
Thank you, Tyrone. That was a great story. And you mentioned a couple of ways that potential employers can engage with your organization by coming in and providing almost like an interview. Is there any other resources that the people listening in today should know about your organization if they want to get in touch?
Well, they can just contact us right through our website, yamtep.com. We're very, very simple. They can also reach out to me directly, 585-739-4383. I will get you all that information. And yeah, I mean, we try to explain as well that, and to most of our employers, we're dealing with a tough population. So if you do experience a bad experience, don't give up. Don't give up and say, hey, we're not going to work with this population. We don't want to hire this population. Trust me, our success rate and retention rate right now is about 83-84%, which is fantastic, I'm finding out. So we will definitely work with anyone, and yeah, just contact us right through yamtep.com.
Great. And Hannah on our team is going to put your website. Oh, she just did it. Look at that. It's linked in the chat so that people can look you up too while they're listening to the rest of the presentation. Well, thank you. So our fourth panelist is Todd Oldham, Vice President for Economic Development, Workforce and Career Technical Education at MCC. As Vice President, he is responsible for leading MCC's initiatives to support regional workforce and economic strategy with data-driven academic and non-credit workforce and career technical education. Todd's roles within workforce and economic development have spanned over 19 years within the university and community college at both public and privately funded institutions in California, Washington State, and New York State. Todd earned a doctorate of education in higher ed administration from Northeastern University, an MBA from Chapman University, and a BA summa cum laude from UCLA. Todd is also a community college graduate, having earned an AA from Orange Coast College. Todd, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Laura, and good afternoon to everybody. I really wanted to just spend the few minutes that I have talking about kind of really picking up a lot from what Tyrone was mentioning about the middle skills workforce, and particularly the opportunities that we have before us as we move into a sort of a build back better mindset, and how we can address some of those challenges. I'm going to use a few slides as I go through this just to sort of complement some of my comments. One of the things that we saw before COVID is, as Tyrone even mentioned, a significant gap in the availability of middle skilled workers. And it's not something that's coming out of COVID. We don't anticipate that to be substantially different. There has, of course, been displacement of workers from things like retail trade and hospitality related and food service and sectors like that. but we still are having tremendous amounts of need for skill-based workers, particularly technicians. So we use the term middle skill a lot. We tend to think of that as the community college labor market, but we're really talking about those workers that have accumulation of skill sets that are above a high school diploma, but not a four-year degree. So it's in that space of the economy. And if you think about New York State, it's a pretty substantial amount of where new job openings are projected. This data doesn't take into account to COVID per se, but it is showing, and was what we saw even before, about 45% of job openings are expected to be in middle skill jobs. If we look at some survey work that we have done with the Rochester Business Journal on about 400 companies that responded, we found in the last study that we did, of those companies that are stating that they have persistently difficult to fill positions, a majority of those were in the middle skilled space. And that's very consistent with our experience in working with companies over the last 10 years in terms of where companies are continually expressing gaps in their ability to attract workers or even source any type of worker within those skill-based technical roles. And so what we, if you juxtapose that with some other facts in terms of thinking about post-COVID reality and how we can improve our situation within Rochester, if you do an analysis and take a look at where folks are working by wage, about a third of the workforce locally is making no more than $15 an hour. It's a pretty substantial amount of individuals. And the interesting thing is with that is you have a lot of those individuals are in sectors that were pretty heavily affected by displacement, particularly retail, trade, accommodation, and food service. So we have these individuals, they were, in terms of a lot of work that we had did prior to COVID, they were high rates of predictive outsourcing or predictive vulnerability to automation, actually. And so as we move beyond into a recovered economy where a lot of these sectors have been transformed, and some of these jobs are not coming back, we more now than ever really need to have pathways that allow individuals to be trained, building on what they do have, certainly, but to be trained in higher tech roles that makes them far less vulnerable to some of the factors, particularly that of automation and just being able to make a family wage job. So that's how we see as we look at going into the new kind of post-COVID space as a college. How are we as a significant workforce provider able to, essentially participate in some of that, some of those improvements. So if we just want to look at just real quickly, one of the, I think a really nice graphic here is some work that McKinsey Global has done, which they've done a lot of work in the automation space to look at this, this dynamic. But what we can see is that as we move up in terms of non-automatable skills, you start to then have the ability, you're accumulating more skill set, more complex skill sets that are much less predictable, much less mechanical, which tends to lend itself less likely, at least in the current moment, to be automated. So it's just something we need to be thinking about in this environment where we have so much smart technology, so much integration. If COVID has showed us anything, it's really the fact that we're all have gone so strongly digital in a way that's accelerated. COVID, in our estimation, has accelerated a lot of these trends by many years. And so more now than ever, we need to have a better workforce model in terms of how we end up providing better opportunities for our residents. So where that leads us is really two initiatives or three initiatives actually I'd like to just end with. The first is that as we begin to look at these complexities and we think about, I'm going to refer back to our colleague Tyrone and his comments about really a pathway. We have a lot of individuals who are in fairly low skill or lower middle skill occupations. And there's a great opportunity for us to start to understand how to break that traditional educational pathway up into smaller bite-sized chunks. This is sort of a laddering, as we sometimes refer to it. But it's the idea that we can reorganize the way we offer education, not just the college, but our partners in the workforce space, to complementarily allow individuals to begin moving up accumulation of skill sets with each endpoint punctuated by an opportunity in the market with a known wage that is sufficient for them to begin to make a family wage, or at least close to a family wage job. And so that's our challenge as we move into post-COVID is how do we do this? How do we leverage into the high school or the college high school models and begin doing this in younger ages? Things like youth apprenticeship has been a very promising model that the college has worked with. We've had some tremendous success with the Rochester Technology Manufacturing Association, but there's a lot of ways that this can be done. So using that as a framework, we really see going into post-COVID, we have then our major initiative, which is like 5 years now in the making, is the beginning to plan for the opening of a new comprehensive resource of the Finger Lakes Workforce Development Center, which is essentially a community asset housed at the downtown campus of MCC. So it's right in downtown Rochester, but it's 50,000 square foot of space dedicated to all types of smart technology, fourth industrial revolution type tech, so robotics, AR, VR, the industrial Internet of Things, but also things like skilled trades apprenticeship. The models we want to utilize here connect in with the high schools that are interested in having access to this technology and this equipment. We have partners such as RIT, as well as our other two community colleges in our region, GCC and FLCC, and certainly industry associations. So in this facility, we really plan, we'll be opening at the end of this year, or at least taking possession of the facility. The plan is the end of this calendar year and beginning to operate in spring of 2022. With probably a more solid offering in fall of 2022. So this is something that's really exciting. This is an upstate revitalization priority project from 2015. So it's taken a little while to get traction on this, but it seems to be the right project at the right time, because our goal with this facility is to be able to provide a variety of fast track opportunities to train folks for these skill-based pathways that we know are so needed still in the economy. And then the second initiative that dovetails to that is a recent investment that we received from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation to establish a planning grant that would allow us to explore, in addition to the Forward Center being at the downtown campus, is there an opportunity for us to explore other types of services, co-location opportunities, partnership space for a greater ecosystem of middle skilled providers that are focused on technician level work. So that's something we've just started. We're excited about it. Our goal is to move through that in the next 4 to 6 months, and ultimately arrive at a plan that we can present to the college and to the community for consideration for further investment. And then the last piece that I'll end with is our historic relationship with the county, particularly Comida. We've, as some of you may have known, we've had for the last approximately 3 years, a really great partnership that has allowed us to create a local training fund to address underwriting the cost of middle skills education. A lot of middle skills jobs, the education is not financial aidable, unfortunately, and hopefully we see revisions from the Department of Education in time. But until that happens, those important opportunities that people can be trained for, they have to be covered outside of financial aid. So that's a real challenge. But with this type of funding, we've been able to train over 1,100 individuals in 3 years for middle skilled jobs. We're very strongly poised and have been doing a lot of middle skill training for healthcare through the pandemic. We've now trained over 450 nursing assistants. We're looking at establishing an on-credit LPN option for those individuals. So we're really wrapping that up. That will be a significant part of the Forward Center, in addition to what I mentioned for the technicians. But this is a plan. This is an opportunity that's available for the companies on this call or on this webinar. If you go to that web address, you can click on a form and you can start getting connected into this and see if this is something that you could take advantage of. Because in addition to underwriting individuals who have been displaced or underemployed for training, it also provides funding for companies looking to upskill their workforce. And so that's just a great opportunity to take advantage of as we look at what your needs will be as you come out of the lockdown. This is an opportunity to help support you. So that's really the comments that I had to make. If anybody has any questions, they can certainly get in touch with us. Both this site will get you connected. And if you want to learn more about the Forward Center and how you might want to get involved, we just launched a new website that has a lot of information, a virtual tour you can take, promo video, but also a simple form that you can complete, and that would get you the process of getting us in touch with you. And that's at fwd-center.com, just fwd-center.com. So I'm gonna end my remarks there. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Hey, Todd, that was fantastic. It feels like every time I hear you speak, I feel more and more energized about where we're going as a community. And let's face it, the pandemic was difficult for not just Rochester, but the entire world. But I see a silver lining there, because hearing the ratings that Leah talked about and all these programs and services that we have already embedded and we continually are improving upon, whether you're a company or an individual, we can really be the center point for the nation in terms of growing jobs, bringing in businesses, and we have all the tools. And I think the consultants always tell us when they come in to look at Rochester that we're always so hard on ourselves that we're never satisfied in Rochester. But I got to tell you that all the speakers we've had today so far, it's just been so impressive, the work we are doing to help our community and grow our region. So thank you for that, Todd. Really appreciate it. Our fifth panelist is Adrian Hale, Senior Manager of Workforce Economic Development and Education Initiatives at the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce. As a United States Marine, thank you for your service, Adrian. You made 2 combat deployments in support of Operation Enduring Freedom to Afghanistan and served with the United States Air Force Reserves. He graduated from Monroe Community College with distinction in 2014 and was a recipient of the SUNY Chancellor's Award for Excellence. Upon graduating from MCC, Adrian transferred to Yale University, where he received his BA in Political Science and became a Director's Fellow at the Institution for Social and Policy Studies with a focus on education reform and police accountability. In 2020, Adrian was named a 40 under 40 honoree by both the Rochester Business Journal and the Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives. So Adrian, when you graduated from Yale, you could have gone anywhere in the United States, and we're so glad you came home, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that gracious introduction, man. And I just want to thank all of my fellow panelists who talked about the work that they're doing. I'm working with so many of them, and they're working with me on trying to really make the region more competitive. So thank you all for what you're doing. My work I'm going to talk about today is specifically focused on an effort that both the Chamber of Commerce and ROC 2025 is targeting at how do we get veterans from Fort Drum to see Rochester as a place of potential and opportunity and want to relocate here. And this really is a byproduct of some of the stuff that you've already heard, right? The semi-skilled gap, the middle skills gap, and how do we add the employable size of our labor market when it comes to those jobs that are left unfilled, large in part. And so this whole journey to Fort Drum kind of started about a couple of years ago myself, someone else who I think you're going to hear from, Barb Egenhofer, who will go soon, and Bob Duffy. We all went up to Fort Drum a couple of years ago to meet with their team on what is it that veterans who are transitioning from active service to civilian life, what is it that they're looking for? And we found out that about 100 to 200 veterans every month are ending active service not too far from Greater Rochester. Now, why veterans? So in addition to some of the most prominent skill sets you could ask for, everything from cybersecurity to electronics to aviation to engineering to mechanics to nukes, I mean, you name it, all of that's up on Fort Drum. So in addition to those skill sets, veterans also bring a number of additional economic benefits through cash benefits, housing benefits, education benefits, and their experience as leaders and as skilled practitioners in their particular military occupations. So veterans are a key target demographic that we know would add to the quality of Greater Rochester's workforce. So that's why veterans, and we have so many ending active service not far from here. So once we got the BCG report, we figured out where some of our areas of improvement were. The Chamber of Commerce said they're going to quarterback the talent strategy. It was a no-brainer that we have to build a relationship with Fort Drum. And that's exactly what we're starting to do. So obviously COVID-19 has created some barriers, but our initial plan and what we will be reconvening to do once we go back on base is a Rochester Day. And now it's not that it's not happening virtually. We're actually gonna have a beta test here pretty soon at the end of next month, where we're gonna go online. We're gonna have veterans come and talk to some of our lead employers. These are employers who are willing to take on veteran-friendly policies in HR and in hiring, who have competitive salaries, because what we've learned is so many federal agencies and departments, as well as huge corporations all across the country, are competing with us for the talent that's at Fort Drum. And so we have our lead employers who are really going to lead the way with some highly competitive wages and occupations that'll use these skills, who are also going to be veteran friendly and who are going to assist in making that transition from active duty to civilian life a lot smoother. So In addition to Rochester Day, we also want to inform those veterans on what Rochester has to offer as well. So what social do we have here? What education benefits do we have here? You heard one of our colleagues from GRE talk about the affordability of our housing market and whatnot, and how their benefits will go so much further here. And Todd from MCC, as a veteran who graduated from there, I can tell you firsthand how quality the veterans' relationships and resources are in these academic institutions, as far as tapping into our benefits and just really helping us make that transition and excel as students. So Rochester has so much to offer our veteran population, and it's about making them aware of that. We also have two great partners helping us in the community in this effort, the Monroe County Veterans Bureau and the Veteran Outreach Center, to also assist in those transitioning. So how do you tap into those benefits? Where do you go? And also, how do you deal potentially with some of the residual strain and stress that you might be carrying over from your active duty service? You know, as a veteran myself, I can also speak to just leaning on some of those resources to help make that transition, because for so many of our veterans, when you hear about homelessness and substance abuse, that is a difficult part of the transition process. So they're joining us in that effort to make sure they have everything they need to make that transition smooth, not just as it relates to gaining education and credentialing or a job, but also regaining their lives back, because it does take a toll on you with some of the jobs that we have in active duty service. So what we're going to be doing at the end of next month is a virtual Rochester Day, where we'll inform our employer partners on how to talk about some of the benefits that Rochester has and why this is a great place to relocate. We're going to be leading with our employers that have competitive wages and great occupations that'll lean on some of the experience and skills that they've already developed during their time in the military. And then hopefully when we transition to the in-person, once Fort Drum starts to relax some of their pandemic provisions, is we're going to go up there and engage as many veterans as possible. And then from there, we'll follow up with who would like to come to Rochester, because we have been gifted with a grant from the Cabrini Foundation to host veterans who are interested here in Rochester, so they can go around and see some of these work sites in person, see what we have to offer, see some of the beautiful scenery that's also here as well. And then after that, we'll hopefully try to make employment matches. And at the same time, introducing them to the strength of our veteran infrastructure that exists in our local colleges and universities, and in our non-for-profit sector through the Monroe County Bureau and through the Veteran Outreach Center, just to name a few. But there's also the Vet Center, which is a great mental health resource, and the VA, which we have the Canandaigua site, and we also have the outpatient clinic in Henrietta as well, which two top-notch centers that are there to serve so many needs that veterans do have. So that is our plan on how we're going to try to help veterans see the benefits of Rochester, just like myself, and find a way to leverage those skills and those benefits to really strengthen our local economy in a myriad of ways outside of just what they can do in the workplace. So I'll end it there. If you're interested in getting involved or following up with me, you can email me at adrian.hale@greaterrochesterchamber.com. Again, that's adrian.hale@greaterrochesterchamber.com. Or you can go on our ROC 2025 website and check out what we're doing as it relates to our Fort Drum Veterans Connect initiative. So thank you.
Adrian, thanks so much. Who needs a cup of coffee when you've got Adrian Hale, on the Zoom? Our last panelist is Barb Egenhofer, Director of Talent Strategy for ROC 2025. Before that, Barb ran her own consulting company, Cardenta Consulting, which among other things provided consulting services in cultural transformation, team effectiveness, collaboration, emotional intelligence, and change management. Prior to starting Cardenta Consulting, Barb was the Senior VP, Human Resources for the Wine and Spirits Division of Constellation Brands, held top HR jobs in global manufacturing here in Rochester and in Chicago, and has opened and managed several businesses. Barb earned her MBA in Organizational Development, HR, and Management from Northwestern University's Kellogg Graduate School of Management, and has a Bachelor of Science from Nazareth. So are you yet another boomerang, Barb?
I am.
Wonderful. Love to see that. All right, the floor is yours, Barb.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you so much. And I tell you, it's a tough job to be the last panelist after such a great group, and especially after Adrian, because I say that all the time because he and I often co-present, and his energy is just so awesome and infectious. So I'll do my best. So thanks for that introduction. I am the Director of Talent Strategy for ROC 2025, and I'm so excited to just introduce you to a few of the programs that we are working on today. And especially I want to talk about something that we call Campus ROC. So when I think about what I do on a daily basis, I really think about the overall work around our talent strategy, which is expanding the size of the employable labor force in the greater Rochester region. And really, I think about it as a three-legged stool. So the things that I do are focusing on recruitment of new talent into our region. It's about the retention of the great talent that we already have, and then starting up programs that really make the connectivity of that really great talent to organizations that are hiring, just making that a whole lot simpler. I know that's a challenge sometimes, especially if you're new to this region, to make a connection if you don't already have a really strong network. So we want to make that a lot easier. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we plan on doing that. So first and foremost, I wanted to introduce you to this new program that we recently launched called Campus ROC. And I love when Leah kicked us off and she talked about Rochester being a college town, because that's exactly what our mission is. When students are thinking about where do I want to go to school, we want them to think about Rochester as being a really great college town. So we have 19 colleges and universities within this greater Rochester region. We graduate about 18,000 students every year, and that's a really big it's a really big talent pool that we need to tap into, because currently we are only retaining about 1/3 of those graduates. So Campus ROC is all about how do we introduce these students into our region, how do we get them to fall in love with Rochester, and how do we get them to think about wanting to stay here after graduation and build their career. So that's our mission about Campus ROC and everything that we do, just really making that connection and really making this feel like a great, attractive destination to start my career when I graduate. So a couple of things that make that happen. First, we have some marketing brochures that I'm happy to get out to any of you. I've got an introductory brochure that talks about the goals and the vision and the mission of Campus ROC. And we use this as a great introduction for any of our interactions with our college campuses, as well as employers. Anyone who wants to get to know what's happening about Campus ROC, I can send this to you. I also have a different version of this that is for students. That's like a much simplified version as to how they can connect with Campus ROC. We also have a very active and robust social media campaign. So if you're not already following us, we'd love to have you follow us on our Instagram account. We will be expanding shortly to the other social media venues, but right now we have a very active one going on Instagram with things that happen every single day. So if you need a little motivation, you can join us on Monday for some great ideas as to where to go for like hiking and exploring. On Wednesdays, we do student features, and we're always looking for students that want to be featured and learn about what's going on with them and why they love Rochester. On Fridays, we often do a Foodie Friday, and we're featuring some really great venues around our city that just we think are ones that our college students would love. So feel free to send us ideas and follow us and share and like what we're doing on our social media. You can find that just at Campus ROC. We also just about a month ago launched a new website, so campusroc.org, and we see this as just a one-stop shop for students to go to just find out what's going on in our region. So they can sign up for newsletters that gives them a preview into the things that are happening. They can go and they can interact with a map that we have built that not only highlights all of the different neighborhoods around Rochester, around the city, but also has links to all of our 9 surrounding counties. So it's a really fun map. If you wonder all the time, like, why is Swilberg named Swilberg? You can click on that. You can see where that neighborhood is. It gives you a map. It tells you a little bit about the history of it. It can tell you like what great restaurants there are or what different venues you can explore. So really fun, great, interactive and virtual way to explore our city. And then we also have two different things that are happening with careers. We have links for our students to link back into their Handshake accounts. We're doing highlights on internships, and then we'll have a link to our career portal that I'm going to talk to in just a few minutes. So the other program that we just recently created, that again, it's housed on our website, but it's also a PDF that I can send any one of you, this is a program called Internship in a Box. And our idea here is we want to have as many employers in Rochester as possible hosting an internship or a co-op experience. Internships and co-ops have proven to be one of the best ways to engage and retain talent. So the more of these experiences that we can offer our students, the more attractive our region becomes. But we also recognize that often internship programs are done with some of our larger employers because they have a robust human resource department, or they might even have their own internship coordinator. So we've created this step-by-step guide. It's really for that small to medium-sized employer that may not have those internal resources, but still would be willing to host an internship. So you can get this guide for free, and it'll take you through like soup to nuts, A to Z, on how do you start your own internship and make it a successful and robust experience. And then we're also happy to connect you with the colleges and universities to help you find that great intern once you set up your program. I'm sure you have all heard at this point about Innovation Square. I think this is one of the most exciting things that's going on in downtown right now. But with the Galena Foundation purchasing Xerox Tower and renovating it into a central hub for students right in the middle of the city, I got a chance to tour this amazing facility last week, and I just think it is just a game changer for our city. So as you can see, this is going to just be a central spot where students from multiple campuses will have on-site housing. They just launched their website, so you can see that link at the bottom of the page. Go and check it out. They're currently accepting applications from students. It is definitely, it's geared for those students that are in that upperclassmen, like juniors, seniors, graduate students that are still attending school but are thinking about living off campus. This is such a great place to go. The views are amazing. The units all have their own little washer dryer, and they've got a 750 person auditorium where we will be able to host some great events for innovation and entrepreneurship. They've got music rooms. There's going to be classrooms on site. There's going to be links to close the eateries and coffee shops, places where students can gather and go to events together, to have an on-site gym. They're looking at a yoga room, just a gaming center, just really, really neat space. So we are working closely with them on some of the programmatic offerings that they will have. So very exciting. Definitely check out that space. And then the other big thing that we have in the works right now is College Fest. And fingers crossed, and vaccinations and COVID willing, this will be an event on September 18th, and we will base ourselves out of Innovation Square, but then closely also be linked to all the other things that are happening around the city, because it aligns well with what's going on with the Fringe Fest. So we see it as the 5 best hours of your life in downtown Rochester. There'll be an internship alley, we'll have food trucks, we'll have links to be able to tour some museums that are down there and take tours of some of those new and exciting spaces that have just opened up. And then lastly, transitioning to, I just wanted to introduce a comprehensive career portal that'll be launching very soon. So we have been building this for months, and the goal of this career portal is that we want every single job that is available in Rochester to be posted on this portal. It'll be greaterrockcareers.com. It is featured like what's going on around our region and all of the great employers that are hiring. If you are looking to hire, this is a great place to go. You can come, you can post your jobs for free. There's a scraping technology involved in that gives you an opportunity to have all your jobs automatically pulled in. And we're just really excited about it and happy to have and host any one of you to come and to find great talent here in the region. So that'll again be launching in a couple of weeks, so keep your eyes peeled for that. So I guess just as a recap, we're always looking for company sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor for Campus Rock or for any of our other events, we're always looking for ways that you can post internships, college, co-op experiences, or any of your graduate positions. As soon as we launch our career portal, we're looking to have you host all your open positions. And my email address is there if I can help anyone and send you any of this information, or if you just want to engage with us in any way. So thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Barb. And thanks so much to all of our impressive panelists. Barb, the work that you and the team at Rock 2025 is doing is game changing for our community. And you know, I know I speak for the rest of the panelists here, and that we all look forward to working collaboratively and looking for the direction of Rock 2025 as we look to reboot the Rochester economy. Well, with that, we want to thank again today's sponsors, the series sponsors, the Community Preservation Corporation, M&T Bank, Greater Rochester Enterprise, GRE, our corporate sponsors, Hunt EAS, UDN Incorporated, Vargas Associates, and our supporting sponsors, NISCAR, Rock 2025, and SWBR. And with that, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell y'all that the weather forecast looks absolutely beautiful to be rocking the Riverway this weekend and into next week. So get out the short sleeves, pump up your bike tires, get out your skateboards, your golf clubs, your bicycles, roller blades. There's even guys riding around on these one-wheel things going about 35 miles an hour on the Empire State Trail, Rochester's own bicycle superhighway. So with that, everybody stay safe. We're close to the light at the end of the tunnel, but we need to remain vigilant. And we look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.
All right, just want to add that this will be recorded and sent out to you as well as on our website. We all know that the panelists did such a great job talking about all the collaborations and all of the really community-driven efforts that are going on. And so use this, please, as PR for our region. It's a really information-filled hour. So enjoy your free 20 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
All right, thanks everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.